Hi, everybody. Welcome to our entry-level Masters in Nursing admissions webinar. We're glad you're here with us. We have a lot of folks joining us tonight, and so we just want to give them a minute to connect with their audio so they can hear all of the things that we're going to share. But we're very happy that you're here with us tonight to learn more about the entry-level Masters in Nursing program at Azusa Pacific University. My name is Stephanie, and I am one of the admissions representatives that work with students who are interested in and applying to the entry-level Masters in Nursing program. Also joining us on this webinar is my colleague, Marissa, and she's another representative from the admissions office that works with students applying to the ELM program. She also works with our international students, so some of you might have connected with her or I or some of our other admissions representatives as you've looked into this program. As we get started tonight on this webinar, we're going to try to provide a lot of information for you about the university and the program and how to apply. We're going to try and answer as many questions that you might have as we can. You're going to see on your screen a Q&A box. And we do have some colleagues in the background that are going to try and answer some of those questions as we're going through. So we do want you to be typing your questions in the Q&A box, and they'll try and answer some of those when we get to the end of our presentation. Marissa and I will circle back and try and answer as many of those questions as time will allow. So we look forward to making sure that you have all of the answers that you need, and we're going to get started sharing more about the entry-level Masters in Nursing program. You might hear us call it ELM for short. Sometimes if we say all those words, it gets to be a mouthful. So if we're just saying ELM, we're talking about this program. And I want to start by sharing a little bit more about Azusa Pacific University. We offer more than 200 online and on-campus programs. And you'll see here that we have over 8,000 students enrolled at Azusa Pacific University. All right, so let's talk about the university. It is over 8,000 students that are attending. We do have a student to faculty ratio of 25:1 in the pre-licensure portion of this program. As you go through the program, that student to faculty ratio gets a little bit smaller, and we'll kind of explain what that looks like as we go through the presentation. The university was founded in 1899. We're about to celebrate our 125th anniversary, and our nursing program was started in 1975. So Azusa Pacific University is an academic institution built on 4 cornerstones. These are our core values, and they include Christ, community, scholarship, and service. Belief in Christ is central to all that we think and do and who we are. Azusa Pacific University is a Christian university, and that does not mean that you have to share these values. It looks like we're maybe still having an issue with our screen sharing.
Does that work better?
I think so. Let's go back to our slides on the university there. Perfect. Thank you. So if you want to go to the cornerstones, we'll start with that. So the 4 cornerstones are listed here, and I was just saying that belief in Christ is central to all that we think and do. Azusa Pacific University is a Christian school, and that does not mean that you have to share those beliefs, but it does mean that the staff and faculty will be Christian, and those values will be integrated into the courses that are part of the program. We also believe in community. We are a richly diverse people who value the worth of each individual. We value the fact that everyone has their own perspectives and past experiences that make them the unique person they are, and the knowledge that students gain from learning and working together in this community will further equip them to be an amazing nurse. And that leads us to scholarship. We're called to scholarship permeated by our Christian faith. We are committed to teaching excellence and preparing our students to excel in their field. If you research nursing programs, you'll see that we are consistently ranked among the top nursing schools in the country. Service is also at the heart of our programs, and we offer our students opportunities for local and international outreach, missions, and service learning endeavors. So let's get into some general information about the program itself. The entry-level Master's in Nursing program is designed for students who have a bachelor's degree in a field other than nursing. So you can literally have a degree in anything other than nursing. It's designed for folks who want to enter the field of nursing and get a graduate degree in nursing. So as long as you don't already have a nursing degree or nursing license, then this is the right program for you. It's important when you're looking at nursing schools that you do verify that they are accredited. They do need to be recognized by the California Board of Registered Nursing in order to get a license in the state of California. And our program is recognized by the BRN in California. We're also accredited by the Commission on Collegiate Nursing Education, and we're regionally accredited by WASC. So some of the highlights of our program, we mentioned before that our student to faculty ratio is 25:1, and that is during the pre-licensure portion of the program. We will kind of elaborate on what pre and post licensure mean. But for now, we'll just let you know that pre-licensure, the ratio is 25:1, and in post licensure, it's 12 students to 1 faculty person. I think the other important aspect of our faculty here is that most of our faculty are still working as nurses. So they know what's going on in the field, they're very passionate about it, and they're committed to investing in our students learning to become amazing nurses. In this program, you are going to be eligible to sit for the NCLEX and get your RN license after you complete the first 18 months of the program. Our curriculum includes the requirements for the public health nursing certificate, and there's a number of post-licensure specialty options that you can select from as part of this program. Those include our clinical nurse specialist, our healthcare administration and leadership, our nurse practitioner, and our nursing education programs. Graduates with certain specializations may be licensed or get a national credential at the end of the program when they receive their master's degree. And in this program, you are going to receive 2 degrees from Azusa Pacific University, a Bachelor of Science in Nursing and a Master of Science in Nursing. So let's talk about the pre and post licensure piece. The pre-licensure portion is the first portion of the program. In the beginning, we admit 25 students. It's a cohort model. Everybody's going to be doing the same thing for the first 18 months. This is all of your foundational coursework that you need to get your RN license. So the Accelerated Bachelor of Science in Nursing is that first portion, that first 18 months. You're going to go 4 consecutive semesters, and in the 5th semester, you'll do a 7-week residency, which is a one-on-one matchup with a nurse. And then we do some NCLEX prep with our students so that you're ready to take that exam. And then at that point, we do actually award the Bachelor of Science in Nursing. That's not typical for most entry-level Masters in Nursing programs, but we feel really strongly about awarding that degree when you finish that foundational coursework, because we find that it helps our students get hired more quickly and get better first jobs. And it is an expectation that you'll start working as an RN while you move into step 2 or the post-licensure portion of the program. That post-licensure portion where from 2 to 6.5 years, depending on the specialty you select and whether you go part-time or full-time. In step 2, you are not going to be in a cohort model. Everyone will have their own academic plan, and you can go part-time or full-time. You can switch back and forth between those schedules. You can take terms off. You really just arrange that with your faculty advisor so that you can progress through the program in a way that allows you to continue working as a nurse and gaining experience while you're doing it. We want there to be a lot of flexibility in that second part so that you can continue working as a nurse while you finish your master's degree. And as we mentioned, there are a number of specialties that you can select in that part of the program. So I'll talk about those a little bit more in the next slide. So here's a list of the options that can be included as part of this entry-level master's in nursing program. We offer 2 clinical nurse specialist specialties, adult gerontology and pediatric. We have 4 options for nurse practitioners, which are adult gerontology, primary care, family, pediatric, and psychiatric mental health. We also offer specialties in healthcare administration and leadership, which is a joint program between our School of Nursing and School of Business. We offer a nurse education program for those that want to become faculty or do nursing education. And then we have a school nurse services credential that can be combined either with the family or the pediatric NP program. We put these specialties up there knowing that some of you probably have no idea, and that's okay. You don't have to know what you want your specialty to be when you apply to the program. You're going to have lots of experience in the pre-licensure portion that will help you figure out what direction you might want to go for post-licensure. But we do want you to be thinking about that because this is a program that does lead to a graduate degree in one of these areas. So all of this is included within the ELM program. You're automatically admitted to the second part when you are admitted to the program. And so we want you to have an idea of what those options are. So we get a lot of questions about classes and clinicals and what do those look like. So first of all, we offer this program at 3 locations. We offer the program at our Monrovia campus, which is right next door to Azusa, our Inland Empire campus, which is in San Bernardino, and our San Diego campus. We're on a semester schedule. And our fall and spring terms are 16 weeks. Our summer term is a condensed 12-week term. So then everybody gets a little bit of time off in the summer. And I always have people ask, do we get any other vacations? We do have a spring break and there's a Christmas break and some other holidays in there. But at the beginning of the program, you are going to go 4 consecutive semesters before you start your residency and finish up your BSN. In pre-licensure, the program is very full-time. It's accelerated and full-time. So you should expect to be in class 4 or 5 full days a week. Some of that time you'll be at the hospitals. We run a lot of labs. There's a lot going on during pre-licensure. So it is a very full-time. You will be a full-time student. Post-licensure courses typically meet 1 day per week, and we do have some post-licensure specialties that are fully online, so they might not actually meet at all. In the beginning of the program, it is really time intensive. You do have to have full-time availability during pre-licensure, and by that we mean you're not going to be able to work during that portion of the program. The School of Nursing normally tells students they should expect to spend 70 to 80 hours a week between classes and clinicals and doing their homework. So it's very intensive in that first 18 months. We offer extensive skills, simulation, and health assessment labs throughout the program. We want our students to be really well prepared for their clinicals and eventually to work in the field. And so we do a lot of that in our program. Our clinical experiences happen in a variety of settings from local hospitals and other health centers. In pre-licensure, students are typically in a clinical group of 8 to 10 students with an instructor, and most of those placements are at hospitals. In post-licensure, the placements are typically a one-on-one matchup, and it's going to depend on your specialty where you might be doing those placements. So you do need to have flexibility for those clinical placements throughout the program. Obviously, we all know nurses have all sorts of different schedules. So sometimes those clinical placements could be early mornings, they could be late at night, they could be on Saturdays. So they do vary from term to term, depending on where you're doing your placement. So as I wrap up kind of my part of this presentation, just want to cover expectations and support that you'll have in this program. We do want to reiterate full-time availability for that first 18 months. Schedules are going to vary from term to term. Most of it is really arranged around those clinical placements. And then you do need to be able to commit 70 to 80 hours per week for classes, clinical rotations, and studying. Most of our classes happen during the daytime between 8 and 5. But you could have some that go a little later. There can be labs or other things where you might have to be here earlier than 8. And then, depending on where your clinical placement is, your clinical instructor will let you know what time you're expected at the hospital. Some of the support we provide for our students, we do a lot of NCLEX prep all the way through the program. We want you to have feedback as you go through the classes so you know what areas you've kind of mastered and maybe areas you need to work on so that you are prepared for that exam. We've already talked about the small classes. We do really believe in mentoring. We offer both peer mentoring, student to student, and with some of our older students or students that are farther down the line, mentoring our new students, and our faculty mentoring our students as well. We offer a tutoring and a writing center for support as you go through the program. Our financial services counselors are happy to work with our students on any financial aid and financing issues. And then we also have a military and veterans services office, which is there to help our military connected students and especially to help them if they have educational benefits through their military service. So now I'm going to pass it off to Marissa, and she's going to share. Hi.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for sharing some insight about Azusa Pacific University, as well as an overview of the entry-level master's program. Hi, everyone. My name is Marissa, and I will be going over the admissions process with you tonight. Our application can be found directly on our website, and that is at apu.edu/apply. And all of our applications do require a $45 application fee, and this can be processed at the end once you've uploaded all of your application documents. Now, documents that we will ask you for, first off, your official transcripts. Next, a personal statement, which can be 2 to 3 pages and double-spaced. A resume, 2 recommendation forms from either current or former faculty or supervisors. Now, there is a minimum GPA requirement, and that is a 3.0. Now, this is for the undergraduate cumulative GPA that is posted on your official transcripts, as well as for the science prerequisite GPA. Another thing to note is all prerequisites must be completed before applying. Now, for those of you who might have 2 of those non-sciences prerequisites in progress, please connect with your admissions representative about this. I would also highly encourage you to prepare for an admissions interview. Okay, here are a list of the prerequisite courses. So for the non-science classes, you're looking at writing, public speaking, introductory to psychology, human growth and development, statistics and research methods. Again, if you believe that you will have 2 of those in progress by the time of the application deadline, please connect with your admissions representative about this. But the science prerequisites, we will ask for general microbiology, human anatomy, human physiology, and organic and biochemistry, all of which do need to have a lab component, and these do need to be completed by the application deadline. Some guidelines for prerequisites. Grades of C- and below will not be accepted. All courses in a series must also be completed to fulfill a requirement, and all parts of the series do need to be completed from the same institution. Labs also must be completed from the same school as the lecture class. If you will be retaking a prerequisite course for a higher grade, that is acceptable. So if you retake the course and receive a higher grade, the department will consider the highest letter grade for decision. There are 2 ways to verify your prerequisite courses. Now, option one is through the use of our transfer guidelines, and this is a self-evaluation. Now, our transfer guidelines list approved prerequisite courses from a specific school, and we have transfer guidelines available from many schools throughout Southern California, and they can be found directly on our website. So if you scan this QR code, it will take you to the transfer guideline webpage, and you can select the institution that you attended and look at their transfer guidelines through there. And here's an example of what a transfer guideline looks like. This is from the school Citrus Community College. And on the left side of the guideline, you can see the ELM prerequisite courses that are required to apply. And on the right side, it will list the approved courses that students can take at Citrus College. Two things I would like to note from here. If you look at the biochemistry and the organic chemistry with lab section, you can see that Chemistry 104 is listed for both biochem and organic chemistry with lab. This means that students that enroll in Chemistry 104 and complete the class will fulfill both biochemistry and organic chemistry with lab. Now, another thing, if you look at the organic chemistry with lab section, there is a column next to Chemistry 104, and that is a series course. So it's 210 plus 211 lab and 220 plus 221 lab. This means that 210, 211, 220, and 221 do need to be completed to receive full credit. So students will have the option to take Chemistry 104 or complete all parts of the series 210, 211, and 220 and 221. Alrighty, the second option is to do a coursework evaluation, and this is an in-depth review of your transcripts. So how can you obtain this evaluation? Well, this is through the application process. So we will ask students to start an application. You will fill out the enrollment history, pay for the application fee. So once you start an application, enter your previous institutions in the enrollment history, save and log out. You will then order your official transcripts and ask them to be sent to Azusa Pacific University. Once we receive your official transcripts, our registrar evaluation team will then review your coursework from those transcripts and complete an evaluation report for us. And this will list all of the classes that you've met for those prerequisites. All right, if you scan the QR code, this will take you to our application link for those of you who are interested in obtaining an official evaluation report. Now, this is an example of what an evaluation report will look like. So something I'd like to point out is at the top right corner, it will list your non-science GPA as well as your science GPA. So these are GPAs that we accumulate based off of the prerequisite courses that are listed on this report. Another thing to point out, if you take a look at biochemistry and organic chemistry, you can see that this student fulfilled both requirements with that one course, Chem 123. Alrighty, so application deadlines. The School of Nursing admits students 3 times per year. So our upcoming deadline is January 15th, 2024, and that is for the summer cohort of 2024. And the following deadlines, we have a May 15th deadline of 2024, and that's for the fall cohort. And then September 15th, 2024, and that is for the spring 2025 cohort. Admissions decisions are typically made 8 weeks after the application deadline, and a total of 25 students are admitted to each cohort per location. Now, admitted students will be required to submit a $500 non-refundable admissions deposit within a week from being notified that they have been accepted. And this is to hold your spot in the cohort, but can also be applied towards tuition. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on to student financial services. Alrighty, so the entry-level Masters of Science and Nursing program can have between 108 to 120 units. This also just depends on what concentration you apply for. Now we do charge $860 per unit, and the base cost is going to be estimated between $92,880 to $103,200. Again, this varies between which concentration you choose to apply for. Here are a few financial aid that we accept, any scholarships or grants, federal student loans, military and veteran education benefits, as well as company reimbursement. Those of you who will be applying for FAFSA, here's the steps of how this works. Now, students will apply for FAFSA once they are admitted into our institution. So once you're accepted into our program, you would then fill out a financial aid application. You will then ask FAFSA to send that application to Azusa Pacific University. And once we receive your application, a student account specialist can go ahead and review your application and rewards with you. Alrighty, if you have further questions regarding tuition and FAFSA, any scholarships, loans, please feel free to reach out to our Student Service Center. They would be able to connect you with a student account specialist to help you coordinate how you'll pay for tuition. Now, those of you who are veterans or active duty, we would love to connect you with our Military and Veteran Education Benefits Department. There are a few benefits that you can qualify for. Please feel free to reach out to them prior to applying or after you've been accepted into our nursing program. Alrighty, we're going to go ahead and go over some frequently asked questions. So I'll start off with the first question. How are department will look at 3 GPAs. So they're going to consider the GPA that is posted on your official transcripts with your posted bachelor's degree. Now they'll also look at the 2 GPAs that are listed on your prerequisite evaluation report. So again, at the top right of that report, you'll see your non-science cumulative GPA for those prerequisite classes, as well as a cumulative science GPA for those prerequisite courses. So there's 3 GPAs that they will look at. Alrighty, and then Stephanie is going to go ahead and take the lead on the next 2.
Thanks, Marissa. So is healthcare experience required to be admitted? I know that this is common for many nursing schools. We actually do not have a specific healthcare experience requirement. So you don't have to have that. I would say that it can be helpful in the admissions process. It's very important that students applying to this program have an understanding of the roles that nurses play. And I think we all have a general idea. We've probably all encountered nurses, but I think when you either shadow, work, or volunteer in a healthcare setting, you get just a better idea of all of the aspects of a nurse's role in the hospital or in another setting. And so having that healthcare experience, I think, can be helpful, but it's not required. If you do have it, be sure to put it on your resume. I think on your resume, it's a great place to list all those things you want us to know, but maybe don't want to write about in your essay. So it's a good place to show your transferable skills that you realize you might have earned in some non-healthcare related field, but they're directly applicable or transferable to the field of nursing. That can be very helpful. And I do think it's important if you're selected for an interview, that you do have a good understanding of the roles that nurses play and why why and how you see yourself in that role. And so having that experience is helpful, but it's definitely not required. We get students from all different backgrounds applying to this program. And then what makes a good candidate? So like I said just a minute ago, you don't have to have healthcare related experience, but I think really having a good understanding of what nurses do, what your goals are, why our program is a good match for helping you to achieve those goals. It is a competitive process, and we don't want to pretend that it's not. It's a bummer. We know we need great nurses everywhere, but we are limited by the number of clinical placements we have, and so we can only admit 25 students at each of our locations. And so, we are looking for the top 25 each application cycle for each of our campuses that offer the program. So it is, you do need to be strong academically, having good grades, especially in those science prerequisites. We do not use any standardized testing for admission to our program, so no T's, no HESI, no GRE, but we do put considerable weight on the science grades because they have shown with our past students that those science grades do correlate to student success and how likely a student is to pass the NCLEX on the first try. So having good grades and having high science grades is helpful. Excellent communication skills, I think, are also important. That can come through by having a well-written essay. We do have a specific prompt for our essay, so the School of Nursing wants to see not only that you've answered all the questions, but that you have written out those answers well. And then, of course, the interview. If you're selected for an interview, it's a one-on-one with one of our faculty, and it's really another opportunity for them to see if what they're seeing on paper matches who you are in person. Are you professional? Are you able to answer questions well? Do you ask good questions? So those communication skills are really important in our process. And then, like I say, being prepared. Sometimes I have students that, just kind of show up late and they're not really dressed as if they're, doing an interview. It really is kind of like a job interview. So they are expecting you to, be on time or early, to be professional, to come with your questions, to be able to articulate why it is that you want to be a nurse and what your goals are in the field. So all of those aspects of the application are important. The recommendations too, those also give our faculty some insight into, what another person thinks about, what you might be like as a nurse. And so they will be looking at all of those pieces. So I always encourage folks, just turn in your best version of each of those pieces that we require for the application.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Stephanie. I'll go ahead and take this question. How will I find out if I am admitted or denied? And is the deposit required if I am admitted to the program? Now, first part, admissions decisions are typically released 8 weeks after the application deadline, and students will be notified either via email, phone call, or a letter sent to their mailing address. Is a deposit required if I'm admitted to the program? Yes, so students who are admitted will be required to submit a $500 non-refundable deposit fee. Again, this is to secure your spot in the cohort and can be applied towards your tuition. Alrighty, can I work during the program? Now, the School of Nursing does not recommend students to work during the pre-licensure portion of the program, so that is the first 18 months. However, in light of this, during the post-licensure portion of the program, so the MSN with the nurse practitioner specialization part, this is designed for while students are working as a registered nurse. And so students can attend part-time or full-time while they are working as a registered nurse. So there's a lot more flexibility during the post-licensure portion. However, pre-licensure, full-time, and so the School of Nursing does not recommend working during those first 18 months.
So we're going to jump into some additional questions that you guys have been sharing in the Q&A. And if you do have more questions, keep typing those in. I'm going to jump ahead to one of the questions because Marissa just, covered this, can I work question. And I want to address that we had a question that says, can I work once I get the BSN before I start the MSN portion of the program? And so while we're talking about working, let's just answer that question right off. That can be a possibility. You can take terms off in post-licensure. I know too that a lot of our students actually get hired in new grad programs, which is a great first job as a new BSN trained nurse. But those jobs are not very flexible, but we don't want our students to miss out on that opportunity. So I know that the School of Nursing has been willing to approve a year's leave of absence between pre-licensure and post-licensure, particularly for students that, we're moving into a role like that where the structure of the new job does not really allow you to say, hey, I have class on Tuesdays and I have to go to campus for that. So there is that option to, kind of take a leave of absence between the pre-licensure and post-licensure. You do have to fill out paperwork for that. And I always beg people, please do that piece of paper. Because if you don't do that, you will go out of status and you would have to reapply if you decided to come back to finish your master's degree later. But you can take some time between the pre and post licensure. So let's go back. We'll kind of go back to the questions that have been coming in. We had a question on, do you go to school year round? So you, in the first portion, yes. In pre-licensure, you're going to go 4.5 semesters straight through. And in that 5th semester, where you're just doing your residency, you can start taking some courses towards your master's degree. That's up to you. Some students use the second half of that 5th semester to prepare for their NCLEX and study. But so the first part, yes, you're going to be going consecutively. In the post-licensure portion, you do not have to. I have some students who they take every summer term off. They've told me, I want to go on vacation. I have kids. I don't, I'm not going to go in the summer. So, when, so that's up to you. You really would work that out with your academic advisor on how you want to go through the program. And do you want to take one of those next ones, Marissa?
Sure, yeah, let me take a look. Okay. Do I have to be COVID vaccinated for clinical sites? So we do not require it to apply for our institution. However, for clinical sites, that is based off of the hospital. So if the hospital does require the COVID vaccine, then yes, it will most likely be a requirement. However, I believe you can do religious exemptions and some few other exemptions if the hospital is willing to accept that.
We had some questions about the difference between the adult gerontology clinical nurse specialist and the adult gerontology NP program. So the NP program, it prepares you to be a primary care provider. So you might, for your primary care provider, you might see a physician, you might see a DO, you might see a nurse practitioner. Our adult gerontology nurse practitioner program is preparing you to do that, to be a primary care provider. So, you do all of the, physicals and, preventative care and those kinds of things that a primary care provider would do. The adult gerontology clinical nurse specialist role, those tend to be more in hospitals, and it tends to be more a combination of research, education, and doing research within the hospital to determine the best practices for, say, moving your patients, or the best practices for different types of treatments that the patients in your unit might have, and then educating the other nurses on how to, do those best practices with the patients. So it tends to be a hospital role, and it is, both clinical nurse specialists and nurse practitioners are considered advanced practice specialties. So they both have more clinicals. They both tend to be a little bit longer than, say, nursing education or healthcare administration, because they're preparing you for a very focused role, either in a primary care setting or in a hospital or acute care setting. So I feel like we had another question about the clinicals. And since I'm kind of talking about, what those specialties are, I'll kind of jump into that. People were asking about where are the clinicals. It depends first off on the campus you're attending. So our clinicals are assigned within a radius of the campus that you're attending. And we do partner with most of the major providers in each of the areas where our campuses are located. And then for our post-licensure clinicals, because those are a one-on-one, they could be at individual clinics, they could be at an urgent care, they could be at a doctor's office where they have an NP that works there that's willing to be a preceptor. They could be at a naval medical clinic. We use a lot of our alumni as preceptors for our post-licensure clinicals. So wherever they work, they can take students for clinical placement. So there's a wide variety of settings. In that pre-licensure portion, again, those clinicals are primarily going to be in hospital settings. I'm down in San Diego, so I know down here we tend to partner with all of the major providers and in close proximity to our campus. And so we see students going out to those hospitals that are usually within probably 15 to 20 miles of our campus location. So we shouldn't have to travel too far. And you'll have lots of, we just have lots of interesting experiences. I love seeing when the students come back and share about what they learned and who they were working with and the different types of patients they saw. So those placements will be kind of in all sorts of different settings. So you will have opportunity to experience different places and see what you like, see what maybe you don't like as much, and that will certainly help you figure out what you might want to do for your specialty in the post-licensure portion.
Okay, let's see one more. How long does it take to receive a decision, and what type of person should I ask to do my recommendations? So admit decisions are typically released about 8 weeks from the application deadline. Again, that you will be notified through email, phone call, or a letter through your mailing address. And what type of person should I ask to do my recommendation? So this can come from either current or former supervisor or a faculty professor that you recently took a class with. But just please keep in mind that it cannot come from family or friends. And so for the recommendations in the application, you will list their first name, last name, and email address, and APU will send them a recommendation form to fill out about you.
And I always like to remind people, as soon as you put that info in and save your progress, those references are going to get an email from us. Some people don't think those go out until you actually submit your app, but we want them to have plenty of time. So it is helpful to let them know it's a form. Some people get a little anxious about writing letters. So if you let them know they're going to get an email, they only have to fill out a form. But as soon as you enter their info, they're going to get an auto email from us with a link to fill out the recommendation form. A few of you have asked if you can apply to more than one school site. That is possible. We generally like you to consider what campus is your first choice. If you're admitted to a specific cohort at a specific location. And so sometimes I will have students who will say, oh, I'll go anywhere. But then when they're offered admission, they're like, oh, well, I really wanted this other location. So you do have to be prepared to live near the campus that you're going to attend if you're admitted. And the program is very intensive in the beginning. And so I know our faculty in the interviews will often tell students, you need to have some support around you. And so if your support is in San Bernardino, then that is probably the best campus for you to apply to. If it's somewhere else, then, you know, if you're looking to move somewhere else where you don't have support, then it might make the program more difficult for you. But so you're only going to do one application. And please talk to your admissions representative if you are, you know, wanting to list alternate locations. Just be mindful that if you are admitted to an alternate location, that is the campus you would be expected to attend. We also had a question about whether you can reapply if you're denied, and you absolutely can. I definitely have students who apply, they don't get admitted maybe in a particular cycle, and you know, they might go retake a prerequisite or get different recommendations or do something else to, you know, kind of improve their application and then reapply, and they can be admitted the next time. So we do, you know, encourage that. If you don't get admitted, you can absolutely reapply. We do recommend that if you are reapplying, that you do make some change to your application, whether that's revising your essay, your resume, you know, getting some healthcare experience or getting different references or retaking a prereq if you have one with a low grade. Those things will all help in the reapplication process.
Okay, so I see a question about the deadline. So yeah, we have 3 deadlines per year. Our upcoming deadline is next year, January 15th, and that is for the summer cohort. So classes would begin May of 2024. And then the following 2, May 15th, 2024, and that is for the fall cohort starting August 2024. And then the last deadline would be September 15th. 2024 for the spring 2025 cohort. So classes would start in January 2025.
As long as we're talking about deadlines, let's kind of run through what you need to submit with your application again. So when you submit your application, you're going to need to fill out the online application. There's a $45 application fee that you pay online. You'll need to submit all of your official transcripts for any degrees or prerequisite courses that you've taken, and your essay, your resume, and 2 recommendations. And then all of that, so our process is not rolling. I get that question all the time. We do wait for that deadline. We send the files to the department, and they'll select the students they want to interview. The interviews will be scheduled after the deadline. And so those usually happen in the maybe 4 to 6 weeks or so following that deadline. And then the admissions committee consists only of the faculty who conduct those interviews. So they will then meet to select the 25 students they want to admit. I know we use a lot of terms that we just get used to saying these things that they might be new to you. I know a couple of you are wondering what a preceptor is. That is something you'll encounter in your clinical placements. So it's like a clinical instructor. So it would be a preceptor would be a nurse practitioner, or another nurse that you're going to do a one-on-one placement with. So they are like your instructor, but it's in a clinical setting. And so instead of being called an instructor, we often call them a preceptor. So they're just a person that is going to guide you through your clinical experience, either in the clinic or the hospital or wherever your placement is at. I think we also had questions too about how long the specialties are. It's hard to give answers on that because everybody kind of does a little bit of their own thing. And we do want that flexibility in that second piece. Our nursing education and our healthcare administration and leadership programs are the 2 shortest options. They are fully online programs, and they can be done in 2 years. So you would still have your 18 months up front for the pre-licensure, and then 2 years to get to your master's degree in either nursing ed or healthcare administration. The nurse practitioner and clinical nurse specialist programs, most of them are about 8 semesters, so a little over 2.5 years. So if you put that with the 18 months, it's about 4 years. The one exception to that is the psychiatric mental health program. That program is probably one of our longest programs. So it typically is 3 full years in post-licensure, making the whole program about 4.5 years if you're going full-time. Again, if you take any time off during post-licensure, or you go some terms where you're only going part-time instead of a full-time schedule, it's going to take longer to get through that portion of the program. So that gives you kind of a rough ballpark on the time that it might take you to finish a program. You want to go over the chemistry again, Marissa?
Yes, I just wanted to, I thought I was muted right now. I was like, wait. Alrighty, so great question. Yes, biochemistry and organic chemistry. I know when I was presenting, I mentioned that there can be one course that will meet both biochem and organic chemistry. Now, this is typically, so it gets very specific here. So there are a few courses that obtain both the biochemistry and the organic chemistry component. And so when in this case, yes, it will satisfy both organic chem and biochem. If you do have any questions about a specific course, please reach out to an admissions rep and we can go ahead and get that class verified for you. We can also ask if it meets both biochem or organic chemistry. So there's that option. There's one course that covers both biochem and organic chemistry. And then there are series courses, which are typically specifically for just one class, but all parts of that series course do need to be completed to receive full credit. And let's see. So you have the option if you want to take, you can call it like a combined course where it covers both biochem and organic chemistry. You're more than welcome to do so. And again, you take one class and knock out 2 prerequisites, or you can go ahead and just take the standalone class per prerequisite, I'm so sorry, or a series course if you want to do a series course.
Yeah, the prereqs, it's a little complicated for us to talk about them in generalities because every school is so different. And I think for that chemistry requirement, we are really looking for an overview of bio and organic chemistry. So it's possible to do it with one class, but some students might have taken a whole series of OChem for their bachelor's degree or for other reasons. So really the best thing with prereq questions is to work with your admissions representative. And we know this is a lot of information, and that's why we have admissions representatives, so we can talk to your individual situation. So if you are still not clear on it, then we definitely encourage you to reach out to your admissions representative. I know we had someone ask if we help our students find jobs after pre-licensure. We do have a career center at our main campus in Azusa. I don't find that our nursing students really use it. There's a lot of demand, especially if you have a BSN. And you will be getting that in this program. And I have a lot of students that I see in San Diego who actually get hired out of their residency. They are going to be doing this 7-week residency, and that's a one-on-one matchup. It's kind of like they get to do like a 7-week long job interview on you while you're a student and they're not having to pay you. And so they get to see, do you fit well with this unit? And, do they like how you work and all of that? And so a lot of our students do end up with job offers out of their residency, and you'll be making other connections in your various clinical placements as you go through the program. So I find that most of our students within, a month or so, some of them actually even get hired before they pass their NCLEX. So, but usually within a month or so of passing their NCLEX, most of them have found a job. So, so we do need to kind of wrap up here. We want to honor your time. We really thank you for being with us, and we hope that you got most of your questions answered and that it's been helpful for you. If you still have additional questions, there's information here on how to email the admissions office or call the admissions office, and they will connect you with your admissions representative so that you can get any of those more detailed questions answered. we want to walk alongside you as you consider this program. And we know that there's a lot to kind of take in and learn as you're considering these programs. So we do hope that you'll reach out to us so that we can help you along the way. We hope you have a nice night.